Let's dive right into this explainer and tackle the missing puzzle piece behind true professional fulfillment. Today, we're going to look at the concepts that reveal exactly why some people just effortlessly soar in their careers while others constantly feel like they're pushing a massive boulder uphill.
So, Section 1, the trial and error trap of finding your career.
You know, this deeply relatable trap is brilliantly illustrated by Upamanu Chatterjee in his 1988 novel English August. The book follows a young recruit to the Indian Administrative Service who notes, in search of their career, they keep on trying and something clicks. I'm one of them, and I became an IAS officer. I mean, that captures the reality for so many of us, right? We don't always start out with a clear map of our inner talents. Instead, we kind of just blindly stumble through different jobs, college majors, and projects until something just happens to stick. We literally rely on trial and error, just hoping we get lucky.
Which brings us to Section 2. What is aptitude? Defining the target.
Well, the word itself comes from aptos, which literally translates to fitted for. And the key distinction here is that an aptitude is absolutely not a skill you've already mastered. It's an innate, inborn characteristic. Think of it as your natural, inherent capacity to acquire a certain skill somewhere down the road through the right training. It's that raw underlying potential making you naturally excel in specific activities way more easily than someone else would.
And this perfectly explains why one person feels totally satisfied and fulfilled fixing engines as a mechanic, while someone else is only fulfilled performing on a stage as an actor. Like if you took that natural actor and stuck them in a garage, no matter how hard they tried, they'd probably feel completely drained. It turns out you might be incredibly gifted at understanding how physical pieces fit together, but absolutely struggle to emote lines on a stage. Meanwhile, another person might struggle to hold a wrench, but entirely comes alive in front of an audience. Basically, your aptitudes determine your true lane for success.
Okay, moving to Section 3. Physical versus mental types of aptitude. First off, you've got physical aptitude. This one is pretty straightforward. It just means possessing the actual physical characteristics needed for a task. Think of the specific height, strength, and endurance required to make it in the armed forces. But then there's mental aptitude, which is a highly specific set of mental qualities. And it's not just about raw IQ. It involves general mental abilities, like rational thinking, for sure. But it also crucially includes value orientations. We're talking things like a natural baseline inclination toward empathy, compassion, integrity, and accountability.
Interestingly enough, there's a really common misconception here. Just because these aptitudes are inborn doesn't mean you're born a finished product. Not at all. Even though they're innate, they absolutely still require proper training to transform into a marketable skill. If you happen to possess a profound, natural singing talent, you're still going to need to go to music school or take voice training classes to really make use of it. Your aptitude is essentially the fertile soil, and the training is the water that actually allows that marketable skill to grow.
Let's hit Section 4, the mental aptitude spectrum and diagnosing your talents.
First up on this massive spectrum, we have the analytical minds, the thinkers and investigators. Some folks possess an innate numerical aptitude. They just naturally love playing with numbers. Others have an aptitude for inductive reasoning, making them natural investigators, perfect for detectives or scientists. Then you've got analytical reasoning, those people who effortlessly gather and interpret complex data. And finally, spatial aptitude. This is the innate ability to understand and retain the physical relationships between objects, which is exactly how the brains of brilliant geographers and architects are wired.
Now, does this next one sound like you? Ideaphoria. It's such a fascinating aptitude trait. People with ideaphoria have brains that literally operate like a non-stop engine of new concepts. They're bursting with ideas, constantly generating fresh angles and highly creative solutions. If you have high ideaphoria, you are naturally fitted for roles like content creation, writing, or entrepreneurship. But if you lock someone with ideaphoria into a highly repetitive, unchanging job, yeah, they are going to be utterly miserable.
Moving right along the spectrum, we have the creatives and communicators. Some boast an auditory aptitude, which is a supreme talent for singing or picking up instruments insanely fast. Others have an incredible eye for color discrimination, just intuitively knowing the absolute best combinations for fashion or interior design. And then there's language aptitude, a natural driving ear for picking up foreign languages. That is exactly the innate wiring needed to be a highly successful diplomat or translator. And this perfectly highlights oratory aptitude, which is just an incredibly powerful trait. We're talking about the innate ability to command attention the absolute second you start speaking. It's that natural charisma and vocal pacing used by influential leaders, politicians, top-tier salespeople, and those truly memorable teachers. They don't just speak to a room, they effortlessly command the whole shebang.
Finally, we have the hands-on and strategic aptitudes, the planners and doers. This ranges from dexterities, which is a natural comfort and precision using your fingers and small tools, super essential for a surgeon, an engineer, or a sculptor. Then there's graphoria, an innate comfort dealing with charts and administrative planning, which is a huge game changer for project managers. And lastly, foresight. This is the subjective ability to look at current variables and somehow accurately predict future outcomes, absolutely vital for employers and business leaders.
All right, Section 5, Attitude versus Aptitude, knowing the difference.
Comparing these side by side reveals exactly why someone might struggle so much in a role they really thought they'd love. People constantly throw these two words around like they mean the exact same thing, but they are fundamentally different. So let's map out exactly how they diverge.
Let's look at their origin and nature. Aptitude, as we've established, is innate, and because of that, it's relatively rigid. Your baseline aptitudes really don't change drastically over your lifetime. Attitude, on the flip side, is a fluid set of beliefs, emotions, and ideas. It is completely the result of your lived experiences. Because of that, it's highly fluid. Your attitude consistently changes and adapts based on the environment you're in. Furthermore, look at the scale and impact center. Aptitude is strictly a measure of your competency. It's entirely about your absolute ability to acquire a specific skill. Attitude, however, doesn't measure if you can do a task. Instead, it simply drives whether your behavior and personality are positive or negative while you do it. Think of it like this. Aptitude is your engine's horsepower, but attitude is the direction you're actually steering the car. You see, you can have the most positive, hardworking attitude in the entire world, but if you lack the innate aptitude, you are always going to feel like you're fighting the current. So I want you to take a moment and really reflect on your own path right now. Are you forcing yourself into a career where you just don't fit naturally, simply hoping a really good attitude will somehow compensate for a mismatched aptitude?